everything we were taught about ancient history only scratches the surface? What if some of the first gods ever recorded weren't gods at all? In the land of ancient Mesopotamia, stories were told of powerful beings called the Anunnaki. These weren't your typical mythological figures. Some say they ruled over humans. Others claim they came from the stars. For years, these ancient figures have been at the center of one of the biggest debates in history. Were they just symbols of nature and power, or were they something else, something much more advanced? From ancient texts carved in clay to modern conspiracy theories, the Anunnaki have fascinated people all over the world. So today, let's break it all down. Here's everything we know about the Anunnaki, starting from 10. Number 10. The Anunnaki were born in Sumerian mythology. The Anunnaki story begins with the Sumerians, who lived in ancient Mesopotamia around 4000 BCE. This region, now modern-day Iraq, was home to one of the earliest known civilizations. The Sumerians were the first to develop writing, laws, and urban cities, and their myths are some of the oldest ever recorded. In their stories, the Anunnaki were powerful beings, often linked to the heavens and the earth. They were considered divine, but they weren't exactly gods in the way later cultures would define them. They were more like cosmic administrators, each responsible for different elements of life, nature, or the afterlife. The name Anunnaki translates roughly to those who came from the heavens. Some texts refer to them as descendants of the sky god Anu. But what's really interesting is how these stories describe them, not as creators, but as rulers and managers of the world. 9. The Anunnaki were seen as judges, not just gods. Unlike the Greek or Norse gods, who were known for wild adventures and personal drama, the Anunnaki had more serious roles. In Mesopotamian myths, they were described as judges of human behavior and keepers of balance in the universe. They weren't just worshipped, they were feared and respected. Some stories mention them, assembling in the underworld to decide the fates of people. They were considered the ultimate authority, even above kings and priests. People believed the Anunnaki controlled rainfall, crop success, illness, and even death. This gave them a presence that felt real. They weren't just floating in the sky, they were believed to be actively involved in daily life. That level of influence is part of what makes the Anunnaki such powerful figures in both ancient and modern discussions. 8. They may have influenced other religions. The idea of the Anunnaki didn't disappear with the Sumerians. Later civilizations, like the Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians, adopted and adapted their mythology. These newer cultures gave the Anunnaki different names and attributes, but the basic concept stayed the same: powerful beings from the sky with control over humanity. Even outside Mesopotamia, there are myths that sound surprisingly familiar. In Egypt, the gods also came from the sky and guided early humans. In Greece, the Olympians ruled from the heavens. Some researchers believe that all of these systems may have borrowed from, or at least been inspired by, the Sumerians and their Anunnaki. It's hard to prove direct connections, but the similarities are there, and they've led many to wonder whether these ancient cultures were all trying to explain the same mysterious forces or the same mysterious visitors. 7. The modern alien theory made them famous again. Fast forward to the 1970s. That's when author Zecharia Sitchin published The 12th Planet, a book that would completely change how people saw the Anunnaki. According to Sitchin, these ancient beings weren't gods at all. They were aliens. Sitchin believed the Anunnaki came from a distant planet called Nibiru, an object that only enters our solar system every few thousand years. He claimed they landed on Earth over 400,000 years ago, looking for gold to repair their planet's atmosphere. To make things easier, Sitchin argued, they created humans by mixing their own DNA with that of early primates. In this version of the story, humans weren't a happy accident or the product of divine will. We were designed as workers for an alien race. His theory became hugely popular. It sparked documentaries, YouTube channels, books and podcasts. It also created the ancient astronaut movement, which argues that humanity was shaped by extraterrestrial visitors thousands of years ago. 6. The Sumerian texts don't actually mention aliens. Here's where things get tricky. The actual Sumerian texts, the clay tablets and inscriptions, never clearly mention spaceships, aliens, or the planet Nibiru. Most of what we know about the Anunnaki comes from religious and poetic writings. These texts use symbolic language, metaphors, and imagery. Sitchin's ideas are based on very loose translations and interpretations. Scholars have pointed out that many of his claims don't hold up when compared with accurate translations of the original texts. For example, the word Anunnaki doesn't mean those who came from the sky in the way he suggests. That doesn't mean the theory is impossible, it just means it's based more on interpretation than evidence. Mainstream historians and archaeologists generally reject the alien theory, but it continues to attract curiosity from people around the world. 5. There's a creation story involving the Anunnaki and humans. One of the most fascinating myths involving the Anunnaki is the creation story found in the Atrahasis epic. In this tale, the gods are overworked and tired of laboring on Earth. So they decide to create humans to do the hard work for them. They mix clay with the blood of a slain god to make the first humans. These humans are told to farm, build, and serve the gods. Sound familiar? It lines up closely with the alien theory that humans were created to mine gold. Whether symbolic or literal, this myth raises interesting questions. It shows a view of humans not as divine children, but as workers created for a specific task. It's one of the earliest recorded ideas about why we exist, and the Anunnaki are at the center of it. 4. The Anunnaki were linked to the stars and planets. The Sumerians and Babylonians were incredible astronomers. They mapped constellations, tracked planetary movement, and even understood the concept of retrograde motion. They connected their gods, including the Anunnaki, to stars and planets. Each deity had a celestial counterpart. Enlil was linked to Jupiter, Inanna to Venus, and so on. This deep connection between gods and the cosmos adds another layer to the alien theory. It makes people wonder whether these gods were actually describing planetary beings or visitors from those regions. The idea that the Anunnaki were sky beings isn't random. It comes from their strong ties to celestial bodies in early records. 3. Ancient Mesopotamia showed signs of advanced knowledge. The achievements of ancient Mesopotamia are hard to ignore. These people created complex irrigation systems, massive temples, and advanced legal systems. They understood math, astronomy, and engineering to a degree that seems ahead of their time. How did a civilization over 6,000 years ago develop such a deep understanding of the world? Some say it was just human innovation. Others believe they had help, possibly from the Anunnaki. Even their writing system, cuneiform, appears fully developed with little evidence of how it evolved. Supporters of the ancient astronaut theory argue that such jumps in human development could suggest outside influence. 2. The Anunnaki still appear in modern culture. Today, the Anunnaki are everywhere. You'll find them in video games, science fiction movies, and conspiracy documentaries. Some people believe they're still watching us, or may even return. The idea of advanced beings from the past continues to excite the imagination. The Anunnaki have become symbols of a deeper mystery. What if our past is not what we think it is? Even if you don't believe in aliens, the story of the Anunnaki challenges how we understand history. It asks us to think beyond textbooks and look at ancient myths as more than just stories. 1. We still don't know who or what they were. In the end, the Anunnaki remain one of history's biggest mysteries. Were they ancient gods created by early humans to explain natural forces? Were they powerful rulers passed down through myth and memory? Or were they advanced visitors who left a lasting impact on early civilization? What we know for sure is this: the Anunnaki were deeply important to one of the world's first cultures. Their legacy spread across thousands of years and inspired countless stories. And today, they still raise questions that science, history, and religion are trying to answer. Whether you see them as myth, metaphor, or something more, there's no denying their impact. So, what do you think? Were the Anunnaki just ancient ideas to explain the unknown? Or were they something else, something real? The truth is, we're still piecing it all together. But the fact that these stories have lasted for thousands of years says something. They've inspired scientists, historians, and curious minds all over the world. And no matter what the answer is, one thing's clear: the Anunnaki still have a grip on our imagination. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, share it with someone who loves a good mystery, and don't forget to subscribe. We've got more ancient secrets to explore, and we'd love to have you along for the journey. Thanks for watching.